Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. In this video, we'll be writing various Java programs related to geometrical shapes. In our previous video, we talked about Java keywords and data types and variables. And now we'll make use of some of those features as we write the programs. However, I have included Hello World program as well in this tutorial, but we have already covered it in one of our previous video and already also explained various parts of it, what are various keywords and how the hello world program gets executed. So let's go to our Eclipse and start writing programs. So here I am. I do have got an empty class. As you can see, I have just created an empty class as the area of geometrical shapes. To print the hello world, we just need to do a sysout and pass the string whatever we want to print it out. So that's all you need to do for running a hello world program. It's very easy. As we go ahead in the series, we'll be seeing very much complex program as well. Let's try to execute this for now. So we have got our string on the console, whatever we have passed into system.out.println. Let's now move on to various geometrical shapes. We'll comment this out. Now let's try to calculate the area of a rectangle. For calculating the area of a rectangle, we know we need a couple of inputs. First is the length of the rectangle and then second is the width of the rectangle. Both of these arguments you can take as a input via command line arguments, or you can have defined in your program as well. We'll be talking about various ways to take inputs in our Java program. So for example, we want to calculate the area of rectangle, so we can initialize our length and width here and can change every time the program runs. So we have calculated the area of the rectangle. As you can see, I have taken length and width as integers, but you can also take other data types like double, you can take float, or even if you have a very large width or length, you can take long as well. Let's try to run this program. So we see that the area of the rectangle has been printed on the console. This is the case where we had our inputs already defined in our program. We can modify here. Let's try to make them 15 and 23 and try to run our program once again. So we see that our area of rectangle has been changed. Many times you might be asked to pass these arguments via command line, or once the program runs, then you need to provide the arguments. We can do that as well. There are a couple of ways to do that. Now I'm commenting these two lines and we'll be making use of command line arguments, and to take those arguments, click on your project or click on your file, go to run, click on run configurations and specify the arguments here. For example, you want to take the you want to provide couple of arguments for rectangles, so you can provide like 10 or 24 and click on apply and click on run. And before you run, you need to have your logic implemented in your program, and that's why it's giving error. So whenever we pass these arguments, it's coming into a string array, which is here args0 and args1. So One more point to note here is that the arguments that you are getting here is of type string. So you will need to convert them into integer or the respective data type which you are considering for calculating the area of the rectangle. To convert to convert a string into integer, we do have an built-in method in Java which we can make use of. So let's try to do that. As you can see, it is integer.parseInt, and you can just pass the first argument here. So we have converted both of our string which we were passing as command line into integers, and now we can easily calculate the area of the rectangle, and we'll be using the same formula which we already had. So let's try to run this program. And as you know, we had passed the arguments as 10 and 24, so the area of the rectangle gets calculated as 240. Now let's talk about another way of passing the inputs to the program, that is using a scanner class in Java. A scanner is part of a java.util package, and we'll make use of that as well. In this case, you will need to provide arguments once your program is running and not before that. So here is our scanner class, and you see currently it is giving an error because if you hover your mouse here, it will ask you to import java.util package, and we have clicked on that error, and it included the java.util.scanner class into the program, and now we see that error has gone. Now we can make use of this sc object to take our inputs. So first we'll ask user to int the width of the rectangle. And as you can see here, as we typed sc object and put a dot here, the Eclipse shows us a lot of methods which you can make use of it. So in our case, we will be taking the input as integer, so we'll be using the method as nextInt, which you can see here, and then we'll take the input as length as well. Now, as we have taken both of our inputs, and now we do have the same formula for calculating the area of the rectangle. Now try to run the program, and in this case, every time we run the program, it will ask us to pass the inputs. Yeah, so as you can see here, it is asking to enter the width of the rectangle. Let's do that. Let's pass here as 21. Let's give here 30, and we see that the area of the rectangle gets calculated as 630. Let's try to give some other inputs. Let's say 49, and length will give as 200, and we got the area of the rectangle as 9,800. You can also include the various units, for example meters, or if it is kilometers, or if it is inches or feet. So whatever it is, you can include that as well. Now we'll move to our next geometrical shape, which is a triangle. For calculating the area of the triangle, we need a couple of inputs as base of what is the base of the triangle and what is the height of the triangle. So we'll take both of these inputs And we'll be using the same scanner object to take our inputs. So we can copy the code from here. And now here we'll apply the formula of calculating the area of the triangle, which we know it is 1 by 2 base into height. Now let's try to run our program. It is asking to enter the base of the rectangle. So let's give the base as 20, and then we'll give the height as 5. And we see that the area of the triangle has been calculated as 50. 1 by 2, 20 multiplied by 5, which is nothing but 50. Let's move to our third geometrical shape, which is a circle. For calculating the area of a circle, we just need a single argument, which is nothing but the radius. And we already know the formula is pi r square. And we'll be taking the value of pi as 22 divided by 7 in our case. We have calculated the area of a circle. And we see that this value might come into fractional parts. So we can, in this case, we can make our area as double. And now let's try to run this program. So we'll give the radius of the circle as, let's say, 3. So we get the area of the circle as 28.0. So now our radius is also double, so we can give input as a fractional number as well. So now we are giving the radius as 6.7, and we do see that the area of the circle has been calculated as 141.082857 and on. Now let's move on to our next shape, which is a square. So we have calculated the area of our square, and now let's print that out. And here we have taken the side of the square as double. So let's pass a number as 4.7, and we see that the area of a square has been calculated as, it's a fractional number, 22.09, and so on, as you can see on your screen. Now let's move on to our last shape of this tutorial, which is rhombus. Now let's try to run our program. And we do see the area of rhombus has been calculated as 9600. So those are the geometrical shapes that we have covered in our program. In case you want us to cover more geometrical shapes, you can let us know into comments. That's all we had for this video. I hope you got some information about calculating the areas of various geometrical shapes via Java program. If you have any questions or suggestions, let us know via comments.